Welcome to the Lambton College International Graduate Services and Support Center, your dedicated resource for navigating life after graduation. We know the journey can be complex, from understanding immigration processes to making career decisions and expanding your professional network. That's why we're here, to simplify these challenges and support your transition into Canadian life. At the International Graduate Services and Support Center, our mission extends beyond your academic achievements. We are here to facilitate your successful integration into the Canadian workforce and society. From career counseling to workshops on Canadian workplace culture and immigration support, our services are tailored to meet the unique needs of international graduates. We're committed to empowering you with the tools and knowledge necessary for success. Embrace the opportunity to connect with fellow graduates and professionals through our networking events and stay informed with our comprehensive webinars covering a range of topics crucial for your postgraduate success. Remember, the path to achieving your aspirations is a journey we undertake together. Ready to take the next step? Visit our website and join our supportive community. Remember to follow us on Instagram and on LinkedIn for upcoming immigration webinars, networking events, and much more. Together, let's make your postgraduate journey a success.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Cristina Giguren, and I'm the coordinator of International Graduate Services and Support Center. This center is dedicated to assist you, our international graduates, as you seek employment and settle into Canadian life following graduation. International graduates from Mississauga, Toronto, Sarnia, and Ottawa have access to immigration guidance and services, career advice, and networking events. There are countless reasons why you can take pride in being a Lambton graduate, as I'm also proud of working here. We've been ranked as one of Canada's top research colleges, and also we're here to support you all the way. And this is the reason why I love to work here, and it's not because I coordinate a center, but because we're here for you. We're one of the very few colleges in Canada that has a graduate center. Today, I want to share with you some information. This is our social media, so I invite you to follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn. This is where you're going to find all the information from the center on our next events. Actually, next week, we will have an interesting event on the CELPIP. It will be very informative and interactive, so I recommend you to follow us and stay tuned to get all the information from our upcoming events. And also follow us on our YouTube channel. That's where you can watch all our previous events. And also, we were going to send the recording. We're recording this session. You will get it to your email, but you can also watch on our YouTube channel. Today, in collaboration with Futures After Immigration, we're excited to host a webinar that will provide valuable information on the OINP for International Student Stream. We have with us Maciej Błaszczyk, founder of Futures After Immigration. He's a licensed regulated Canadian immigration consultant. He also holds a Bachelor's of Arts in English and Master's of Education. And Maciej has over 15 years of experience in helping international visitors find immigration pathways to Canada. We also have Julian Natale, an immigration case manager dedicated to assisting individuals and families navigate a complex immigration process. His passion lies in helping people from diverse backgrounds achieve their dreams of living, working, and building a future in a new country. Today, they're going to discuss and let us know about the OINP minimal qualifications, the candidate and employer qualifications. We will learn how to calculate our score. We will have a Q&A section. And finally, I ask you to reply our service, and that is how we can improve our services from you. So I'm sure you will enjoy this webinar. You will get valuable information. Maciej and Giuliano, thanks a lot for participating, for sharing your knowledge with us. And now you have the stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Christina. It's great to have you hosting us once again at Lambton College. We had a great time at your previous presentation, and we're happy to be here again. So yes, fantastic. So that's right. So my name is Maciej Błaszczyk, and I'm the founder of Future Soft Immigration. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. And today we have a great presentation about the OINP International Student Stream. So pretty much if you have completed post-secondary studies in Canada within the last 2 years, and you are currently working in Ontario, living in Ontario, you may very well qualify for this particular program. So I believe a lot of the Lambton College graduates or soon-to-be graduates are definitely qualifying for this, right? At any point, guys, if you like to book a consultation with us, we have a special fee, we have a special price for Lambton College students. So if you access this QR code, don't just look at my website because you'll be paying $150 for a consultation with me. But with this Lambton College promotion, if you are watching this webinar and are reaching out through Lambton College, scan this QR code and receive $100 immigration consultation with me. And in that consultation, we'll take a look at your CRS score, we'll look at your qualifications for any program, and provide you with clear guidance about your most effective and cost-effective solution to your immigration pathway. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just talk a little bit about just the OINP program, provide a little bit of the introduction to it. We are going to talk about how to calculate your score for the OINP, which is, I think, the most important thing. And then we're going to spend a little bit of time for a Q&A, during which time we can answer. And with me here is Julian Natal. He is the immigration case manager for Future Soft Immigration. He will be mediating a lot of these questions and setting up any of these questions that we have. And I will try my best to answer these questions towards the end, whether it's on the OINP or if you have any other questions that are immigration related. Okay? So, first of all, let's go ahead and begin here. And Julian, please let me know if there are any questions that are burning questions, and don't be afraid to interrupt me so I can answer any of these questions. So the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, or the OINP, is a provincial nominee program. As we know, there are many. Each province has their own provincial nominee program, and this is a way for the province to have autonomy over the candidates that they want to invite to immigrate to their provinces. Now, as all OINPs, the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program has a specific program that focuses on meeting its own demands for newcomers. So these are all work related. These are all job related. Now, the OINP has many different programs, but today we're going to talk about the OINP student stream, but which is almost the same as the OINP employer job offer foreign worker stream. We will eventually talk about this program as well, but basically with this program, the OINP employer job offer foreign worker stream, you have to have at least 2 years of working experience. Your job experience has to be either the same or above median wage. So you have to have a high wage for the job, right? Plus, it has all the other requirements that the international student stream has. It has its own way of calculating the score. But today we're going to talk about the OINP employer job offers international student stream because it carries many advantages over the foreign worker stream. So first of all, let's take a look at the basic requirements for this. So in order to qualify for the OINP employer job offer international student stream, first of all, you must be a graduate of a designated Canadian learning institution, DLI. Now, there are some stipulations here. So it's not just a designated learning institution, it's a designated Canadian designated learning institution. This means that it's not all institutions. First of all, they have to be public, not private, and they have to be Canadian institutions. So it's not private, it's public. Now, recently we saw a lot of changes to the education, to the student visa requirements and postgraduate work permits. There used to be some colleges that you could go where you, let's say, you had programs like you had Cambrian at Hanson, College, which and Hanson was a private college, but it hosted Cambrian College courses, and this allowed it to be able to qualify for postgraduate work permit. Then we had Niagara College at the college, Toronto School of Management. Toronto School of Management, again, is a private college. So these colleges, right, and there's these colleges do not, right, these private colleges will no longer provide postgraduate work permits, and they're not included in the list. Again, there's a specific list of educational institutions in Canada. They are public Canadian colleges and universities. You have to be a graduate of one of these colleges. Lambton College obviously is eligible. Yes, Lambton College most certainly is eligible. Lambton College is a public college, a very well-respected and good college. So Mohawk College, yes, yes. So basically, that's it. We're getting some questions already, but yes, if it's a public college. Now, if you're not sure, right, you can use Dr. Google. Write the name of the information and put DLI, Designated Learning Institution. And you'll actually find a website where it will list all the colleges that have a designated learning institution. You can find a designated learning institution of each college, and it will show you postgraduate work permit, yes or no. If it says PGWP, yes, very good chances it's going to be there. The other thing you want to do is look at the official website of the OINP, International Student Stream, and take a look at the designated institution. Very important to watch out, because I had a client recently who completed a master's degree here in Toronto, but this was an American university that had a campus here in Ontario. He did qualify for a postgraduate work permit in Canada. That was really great. But unfortunately, he did not qualify for the OINP International Student Stream, because even though he completed that university master's degree program in Canada, it was actually through an American university that had its campus here in Ontario. So be very careful. Again, if you're not sure, schedule an immigration consultation with me. The other thing we want to think about is that you need to have a full-time and permanent job offer in a tier 0, 1, 2, or 3 based position, based primarily in Ontario. Now, the tier 0, 1, 2, 3. Now, tier 0 and 1 are worth more points for the OINP than tier 2 or 3. The actual knock code that you have, that you have will actually be worth more as well for the OINP. Guess what? STEM fields, health fields, right? These are professional fields. They are usually worth more for the OINP. We're going to take a look carefully how to calculate the score, but you have to have a full-time job. Now, great advantage here is you do not have to have many years of experience. You just have to have that job. You do not have to have any job experience, long-term experience. You need to have that job. It has to be a permanent job offer, not a contract position or temporary position. But basically, you can as soon as you have that job offer, you have that permanent job offer, you do qualify right away. That being said, big point here, your employer will need to be willing to fill out an employer form. Now, generally speaking, I've seen some problems with some of these candidates that we have with the employer seemingly unwilling to complete this form. Most of the time, it's the HR department that refuses to do this, not the actual employer, because the HR department, surprise, surprise, they're kind of lazy and don't want to do extra paperwork. And it is extra paperwork. And so you need to talk to your supervisors. You need to talk to your boss. You have to try to contact the head of department. Again, we're at Future Soft Immigration. We're happy to assist you in mediating your immigration pathway by professionally contacting your employer and whoever's in charge, even if they're in charge of the HR department, to get things done and move your application forward in order to convince your employer. Most of the time, this is just a bothersome thing because the employer simply doesn't want to do the extra paperwork, or in a very small amount of cases, this is a corrupt employer who hasn't been paying their taxes. But honestly, this is something that we can deal with too. Now, so this is great. It must be higher than low wage level. But that's it. It must meet or be higher than low wage level, not meet or be higher than median level. So this is a big relief because most recent graduates in Canada, when they are entering the workforce in Canada for the first time on their postgraduate work permit, they have their shiny degrees, but not a lot of work experience. They are going to do entry-level positions. And so the employers are not willing to pay them a high salary right away, right? Eventually, after a year or 6 months, perhaps they are willing to pay you more. But this allows new graduates to find these positions at entry-level positions. Now, there are requirements for the employer. So it can't just be any employer. It can't be just your Uncle Bob or anybody else who's giving you this job offer. First of all, the employer must be active in business for at least 3 years, right? And this is something that we'll have to prove, right? They have to be active for at least 3 years. Now, if the employer is working within the GTA, the employer must be the company, the employer must be making at least $1 million in total gross annual revenue and must have five full-time employees who are Canadian citizens or Canadian PRs. Big point here, you're looking for a big company. When you're finishing with your program and you're graduating and you're looking for a job, you're looking for bigger companies because bigger companies have more employees. More employees means they're more permanent residents or Canadians. And again, this is a big point here. Sometimes you might get a job and you say, okay, this is a great job. There are 5 full-time Canadian citizens or PRs working here, and I'm the number 6. I've had this situation happen many times. Be careful because the market is always unstable. And sometimes people get sick, people retire, people get injured on the job, and suddenly those 5 full-time Canadian permanent residence positions turns to 4. If for some reason you get invited to apply for the OINP for the province of Ontario under this program, and that condition changes. So you applied for your expression of interest while there were 5 Canadian citizens or permanent residents working, and then during the time that you were invited for application, that status changes, well, you no longer qualify, right? You will no longer qualify. So you want to find a job that's a lot higher. It has more than $1 million in total gross revenue and 5 full-time employees working there. If you're inside of the GTA, outside of the GTA, which is what you should be thinking about, you should definitely be thinking about employment outside of the GTA, not inside of the GTA. The requirements are much lighter, only $500,000 in total gross revenue and only 3 full-time employees. So look for bigger companies outside of the GTA, right? So those are the minimum requirements here. Okay, I'm looking at some questions. Juliana, any questions you got there? Okay, no questions so far. Okay, I'm getting some here. No employer would be willing to provide financial details. Yes, there are. They are able to apply. Again, it's most employers can, most employers will. You're looking for an employer that does. Again, small businesses are ones which are struggling more and they're not willing to do that. Bigger companies, corporations most certainly have to do that. They certainly have to do that. They already do. They do their taxes. So that is what you're looking for. That's another reason why you'd be looking for a bigger company. What about the last cutoff score for international stream? Is that a question? I'm not sure what the question is, but we're going to talk about the last cutoff score. We're going to take a look at it. It's 1. The document is just 1. So there is a, but it has many pages, right? So it's a larger one. So if you have a job offer, but the HR employer from this, they said they don't support PNP, talk to me. Let them talk to us, because honestly, sometimes these HR people, these individuals in the HR, they have no idea what they're talking about. They think PNP means spending money. The company does not have to spend any money towards the PNP application. That's what they're worried about. And honestly, they're just not well read. They're not looking for anything, right? So and again, we're going to talk about that a little bit more here, but let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the scoring requirements. Oh, here we go. I am employed as a part-time. Okay, see, Giuliano is there. I don't know here as a part-time employee, and I could pick up more hours. Will it be okay? We need a full-time position, not a couple more hours. So a full-time position is considered 30 hours a week. We're looking for full-time positions, permanent positions, and part-time positions may not be permanent. We're looking for permanent full-time positions of 30 hours, right? Okay, we're not looking for 2 or 3 jobs. We're looking for 1 job. Okay, cool. Language requirements, Carolina, we're going to talk about that. So, Andreas, if you have met the requirements, submit expression of interest before completing the 2 years since my graduation. Would I still be eligible with the program if I'm invited to apply after the 2 years have passed? You know what? I am not really sure about that. I would say probably either yes or probably no. So I would say yes if the requirement, I would have to research about that, but I would probably say probably no. And the reason I say probably no, because at the time of the application, you still have to have all the requirements. That's what I know. But let me do some research about that. So Andres Superlani, why don't you email me about that? I'll go ahead and find that information for you. Send me a quick email. I will go ahead and answer that for you. Does a paid internship position count? No, it's not an internship, not a co-op, and the job cannot be a co-op or intern position during the term of your studies. So no, we're not looking for temporary positions. We're looking for permanent positions, Angel. Unfortunately, we're looking for permanent positions, not a temporary one. Yes, there is a certain period. You have to apply within 2 years. You have to be at the time of selection. It has to be within 2 years, as soon as possible. As soon as possible. So, Shaya, we'll have to book a consultation because we need to take a look at your actual knock and then calculate your tier. So as long as it's tier 0, 1, 2, 3, that's what we're looking for. Tier 4 or 5 does not count. So as if your supervisory job in the food service is a tier 4, then no, it's a tier 3 or 2, yes. Okay, again, it's not a contract position, right? It's a full-time position. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move forward. We're going to have some time for Q&A at the end. I'm getting a lot of questions here, but first of all, let's go ahead and take a look at the scoring factors. So like most PNPs, even PNPs in British Columbia and many other provinces, they have a scoring system. The provincial nominee program in Ontario, the OINP, has specific criteria, specific point systems for each of their programs, except those which are tied to the express entry. So there are some which are tied to express entry. So depending on your score and qualifications, you may apply. And the Ontario International Nominee Program's student stream, international student stream, is not connected or reliant upon your express entry profile. It has its own point system. So guys, if you have some papers and a pens, I hope everybody has a paper and a pen with you. And what we're going to do is we're going to calculate our score. First of all, we're going to put, so as most provincial nominee programs, one of the most important categories here is employment. We're going to take a look at employment. So you get score under the employment. We're going to take a look at your education. So what kind of education you had. We're going to look at language requirements, as some of you guys asked what they are. And also very important is their regionalization, where you actually studied and which location is your current position. So first of all, let's take a look at the employment. So the first three factors that we have are going to be the job offer NOC tier, job offer NOC broad occupation category, job offer wages. So first of all, so hopefully everybody has a pen and paper. Let's go ahead and calculate our scores to see how we would qualify. If you're thinking about this program, let's see what we qualify in terms of points. So if you have a tier 0 or 1 position, you're going to get 10. And if you have a tier 2 or 3 position, you're going to get 8. And if you have tier 4 or 5 position, it shows here tier 4 or 5 position, you get 0 points. But technically speaking, you do not qualify for this program at all. This is only for tier 0, 1, 2, or 3 positions. If you're tier 4 or 5, not only are you not getting any points, you absolutely do not qualify for the program at all. Second is we're looking at the actual NOC. And I know some of you have had some problems finding NOCs. One of the ways to look at it is go on Google and search for Know My NOC or Find My NOC. And you will find a website. It's a government website. Don't go to immigration websites. Don't go to private immigration websites. Go to the Canada.ca websites, right? Or Statistics Canada websites. But Know My NOC is a Canadian government website. And basically find your NOC. Search there until you find a job that's closer to it. You want to go ahead and it will show you your NOC. It will show you your accompanying tier as well. You may want to copy and paste that job name and then search for it on Statistics Canada or Glassdoor or Job Bank and read the description to make sure it aligns. Again, if you're not sure what your NOC is, what your tier is, book a consultation with us. But basically, if the first number of your NOC code, not your tier, but your NOC code, starts with 0, 2, or 3, you get 10 points. If it starts with 7, it's 7 points. If it's 1 or 9, you get 5 points. If 4 and 8, it's 4 points. 5 and 6 is 3 points. Next, your job offer. Now, as we mentioned before, the international student stream, for the international student stream, you have to meet or excel the minimum wage requirements for that particular position. So it doesn't have to be median wage, but it has to be minimum wage for that position, not the minimum wage of the province, but the minimum wage of that particular position. So again, this is where you're looking for median wage. Again, I can help you find what that is. But if you're making less than $20 an hour in your position, you're not getting any points. Ideally, you're making at least $20, $25, or $30 an hour, which will give you some points for this. So again, take a look at your current salary per hour and calculate your score. Okay, so again, for your job offer NOC tier, you're getting between 8 to 10 points. For your actual NOC code, you're getting between 4 to 10 points. In terms of your salary, you're getting between 5 or 10 points if you have more than $20 an hour. Okay. Next, let's take a look at it. These are kind of easy. So the first one is the work study permit status. So if you're working legally, you're getting 10 points. If you've been working illegally or under, it's 0 points. Okay, so again, we're looking for either 10 or 0, right? So there you go. So if you've been working legally, it's 10 points. If you have been working illegally, 0. If you're working in that position for less than 6 months, you get 0 points. If you're working for more than 6 months, you get an additional 3 points. Okay, again, you do not have to work for 6 months in order to qualify for this program. But if you have worked for more than 6 months, you get an additional 3 points. And again, for most of you, you'll be making more than $40,000 a year, so you can add 3 points. If you have done your taxes, or if you are making less than $40 a year, again, we can help you calculate that, right? Again, you don't have to have completed a year of work, but be on your way to be making $40,000 a year, right? Okay, you have to do your taxes at this point for 1 year. Again, you get extra points. Okay, so we get the study work permit. It's either 0 or 10. right? If you've worked for more than 6 months, you get 10. If you've done your taxes and reported them and made more than $40,000, you get an additional 3 points. Okay, moving on to any questions at this point. Let's take a look. Does your work need to align with what you need finished in study? No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It helps for your express entry profile, and it helps when we're actually doing the application. But sometimes no, as long as the job is there. The important thing is that you have to have the qualifications for that position. Okay, so it depends on the actual position you're doing. You obviously have to have the qualifications for that position, including the minimum language requirements for that position. So that does matter. And so it depends on the tier. So if your tier is 0 or 1, you have to have at least CLB 7. If it's tier 3 or 4, you just need again, if it's tier 3 for this position, you just need a band 5 in CLB. Again, you're looking for a high CLB. We're going to take a look at that. Sukmanjot is Lambton, Mississauga. All Lambton College campuses across the country will be eligible for this program. So Lambton College is a public college. It has many campuses, and yes, we do not provide employment services, but we do provide guidance. Julia Natal is an expert in that field. So yeah, we're going through it. So after you get the OINP certificate, we apply that to your express entry profile. Okay. So some of these are really, really deep questions here. Again, here I got Carolina. I think you need to book your consultation with me in order for me to answer that question, because you're on maternity leave. It has a lot of different options there. No, you cannot apply for multiple OINP streams. You also cannot apply for multiple PNPs in general. All right, and I'm getting some questions about education, so let's move on to education. All right. So first of all, education, you're getting points for the highest level of education. So this can be in Canada or outside of Canada, as long as it's been it has been assessed by the Educational Credentials Assessment. So this could be WES assessed. So if you got a WES assessment for your education from back home and you have a PhD, you get 10 points, master's 8, bachelor's 6, graduate diploma 6, undergraduate certificate 5 points, college diploma 5 points, right? Less than college is going to be 0 points. So again, you're giving yourself points for your highest level education, whether it's in Canada or outside. Then we're taking a look at the field of study. So again, if your field of study, again, this is from back home or in Canada, if it's in the STEM, the science, technology, engineering, or maths, right? Right, so if it's in the STEM field here, you're getting a whopping 12 points, right? We're living in a technological age. It's all about technology for us, right? So if you're doing the STEMs, here we go. If you're the business and administration or social, legal, educational behavior, you're getting 6 points. Be careful, because general business would fit under humanities, which gives you 0 points. Okay, international business will most likely be 0 points. Be careful about what program, because some of us, we've been studying at business, but the business is a general business, not a specific. It's not a business administration. So we're looking for social sciences here. Not all business degrees are going to get you 6 points. Most of them will get you 0 points if they're more aligned with the humanities. Again, If you're not sure about that, you will have to arrange a consultation with me so that we can arrange that. We'll have to take a look more deeply about your program. And if you have one Canadian credential, that's 5 points. If you have more than one Canadian credential, you're getting 10 points, right? And again, you are expected to have a Canadian credential as the minimum requirement for this program. So if you don't have any Canadian education, you have not completed any post-secondary programs in Canada, you are not qualified for this program at all. Okay, so once again, depending on your program, you're getting between 5 to 10, right? You're getting 5 for most 1 year, 2-year college programs. You're getting 8 for a master's and 10 for a PhD, right? Depending on what you're doing, if you're getting 0, if you're in the humanities, my humanities students, I also studied humanities. Unfortunately, under humanities, you get 0. Under social sciences, you get 6. And if you're in STEM fields, you're getting a whopping 12. And if you're getting just one Canadian credential, you'll get 5 points. Remember, it's a minimum requirement of a Canadian credential. If you're getting 2 or more Canadian credentials, you're getting 10. Language. So, official language ability, very, very important, right? If you're getting less than 6 points, you're getting 0. Now, the minimum requirement to study at a post-secondary education in Canada is 6, is a CLB 6 for colleges, right? Some private colleges will go as low as a requirement for 5.5. But again, private colleges do not apply for this program. If you finish for a private college, you do not qualify for this PNP. With most colleges, the requirement is 6. Universities is 6.5. Master's degree level education in Canada has a between 6.5 and 7. Right, and some programs have a minimum of 7 for a master's level program, right? Again, if you're getting a CLB 8, it's 6. But if you're getting CLB 8, you're getting 6 points. But if you're getting a CLB 9 or above, you're getting a whopping 10 points. And I gotta tell you, for many of the candidates that I've interviewed over the last few years, the language requirement is really, really important. Right? So, and again, I would recommend for that particular program to do the CELPIP. We are going to do a webinar about CELPIP next week, this time next week. So if you're interested about improving your CLB score, we're going to do a webinar on CELPIP next week. So be sure to contact Christina to get that. So again, if you're just speaking English or French, if you have just one language requirement, you could be CLB French or CLB in English, right? One official language is 5. If you've got 2 official languages, it's going to be 10. And what's nice here is you need to have a minimal Canadian language benchmark of 7 in one official language and minimum 6 in the other. So most of you guys, I believe you are English language speakers. You studied at Lambton College. Your English is really good. My recommendation is improve your English to band 9. And in your spare time, also improve your French language to at least a band 6. That gives you 5 additional points here. That's a lot of points here for this. So getting a little bit of French here might be a really good idea. And so again, so when you're looking at Canadian language benchmarks here, and for CLB scores, right, there are different tests you can get for the English, right? And so what's nice thing is that when you're looking at CLB scores, the Canadian language benchmarks aligns with the CELPIP score. So if you want to calculate your score, what your CLB score is, if you're taking the CELPIP, right, a CELPIP 10 is a CLB 10. Right, CELPIP 9 is a CLB 9. If you've taken the IELTS, right, so it's basically the same. If you've taken the IELTS, right, a CLB 10 is equivalent to 8 reading, 7.5 in writing, 8.5 in listening, and 7.5 in speaking, right? So if you got reading 7 in IELTS, writing 7 in IELTS, listening 8 in IELTS, and speaking 7 in IELTS, you are scoring a CLB 9. Right, which is what we're looking for. That being said, I do prefer CELPIP over IELTS very quickly here. CELPIP is, you can complete the entire test in one day. You don't have to schedule separate speaking tests. With the IELTS, sometimes it takes 2 days because you have to schedule your CELPIP exam on another day or in the afternoon. It takes a whole day, right? CELPIP only has Canadian vocabulary and pronunciation, while the IELTS uses vocabulary like British vocabulary and British pronunciation, right? You actually have editing tools and a spell check in CELPIP. You don't have that in IELTS, right? And it is purely non-academic test for CELPIP. It's all general, about general topics. With the IELTS, right, you need to wait for the test, sometimes between sections, right? It's British vocabulary. That's one of the worst things. Sometimes British vocabulary has sometimes Australian, New Zealand, Scottish, Irish accents. It can be quite difficult, right? And the IELTS is almost academic. Now, if you've scored high in IELTS academic when applying for your post-secondary program, then you might consider IELTS general. But in any case, in terms of language score, right? So depending on your score, you're getting between 0 and 10 points, right? So you're getting 10 points for band 9 or above. And if you know more than one language, you get 10 points. If you just want to know one language, it's 5. Giuliano, I've noticed you're back. And do you have any questions that you were able to pull out? We're at 56 message here. Okay, a lot of the questions here, I see Karen, do we need a minimum 1 year? No, you do not. So we haven't finished calculating the points just yet here. So stay with us, Ayasha. We're going to take a look about what do we think is going to be sufficient. So last point here in terms of adding points is regionalization. So it means where you've studied and you're working. So basically, if you're inside of this area, the GTA, you are getting 3 points, okay? If you're in Toronto, you're getting 0 points. So not a lot of points if you're inside of the GTA. I actually mentioned this from the very beginning of our presentation. You want to find a job outside of the GTA, because if you're working in Toronto or in the GTA, you are not getting a lot of points. What you're looking for is anywhere outside of the GTA, right? So outside of the GTA area, or even in Northern Ontario. Now, a lot of us might be scared about Northern Ontario. How cold is it? Well, thank goodness for climate change. It's not that bad at all. It's the price for living in Northern Ontario or outside of the GTA is significantly lower. But if you're if you're kind of wary of going to to the Northern Ontario region, cities like Hamilton, Barrie, Kingston, Waterloo, these are beautiful cities, right? And they're outside of the GTA, and they will give you an additional 8 points, right? There are also points that you're getting for where you studied. So if you studied at Lambton College inside of the GTA area, right? Whether it's in Mississauga campus, right? Then you are getting 3 points. If you're outside of the GTA area, and I know some of you are lucky, you're getting 8 points for regionalization, which is great. So again, depending on where you are, you're getting 0 to 10 points. So if you're inside of Toronto, 0, in the GTA 3, outside of the GTA 8, in Northern Ontario 10. And that's also similar about where you studied as well. So very quickly here, guys, you should be have finished calculating your points. And some of you guys asking, is it enough? Is this going to be enough? So let's take a look. So the last ones we had here. So we're looking for general draws. Unfortunately, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for general draws. Here we got. So July 16 was the last draw we had. And again, we're looking at general draws because for July 16, for the OINP International Student Stream, there have been multiple targeted streams, targeted. And what I mean targeted draws, they're looking for programs like they're looking for the high priority occupations. So there are some high priority you can take a look at. So if you're, and they are targeted for health occupation, early childhood education as well. So if you're not in early childhood education, or you're not part of the targeted draw or occupations in demand draw, right, then you're looking for the general draw. And so in February, we had the score was 78. In March, for the last general draw was 72. We are now waiting for the next general draw. So the question was, one candidate here asked, is 71 okay? Maybe, right? Maybe it will be, maybe not. Now, if you guys have been looking for express entry, yesterday we had an amazing draw for express entry. The score for the CRS score for express entry was 509. I was very happy because I was able to welcome, get many invitations for permanent residency for some of my clients with that particular score. So that's really, really great. So 509 was a great score. It may go lower. So in terms of, you probably saw on the news, many politicians are talking about, oh, we have too many immigrants, we have too many people coming to Canada. Not for these economic classes. Canada absolutely needs new permanent residents in Canada who are in demand, who are able to fill the in-demand jobs that we're looking for. Okay? So in any case, if your score is 72 and above, this doesn't mean 100% you'll get selected, but it's a pretty good sign. And again, we need to wait for the next general draw, which I think should be forthcoming. It should be coming soon, because the last general draw we had was in March. So end of August, September, I think we should be getting a new draw for the general. So we are definitely, if you do qualify, if you're getting a score of 75 and above, or 72 and above, if your score is around 80 here, you should definitely begin thinking about creating your expression of interest to the province of Ontario. But again, check with me first. Okay, so if you think you qualify for this particular program, by all means, book your immigration consultation with me. You can just scan this QR code. You'll also get a special promotional code for your $100 reduced price, $100 Lambton College consultation fee. Okay, which brings us to the last portion of our presentation here. We've got another couple 10 or 15 minutes here. So Julian, any questions that we have? Have you been able to select some questions for us?
I got two pretty good ones that I'm looking at over here. I got one question. What if we change the job position in the same organization after we have already applied for OINP International Student Stream?
You need to update your OINP. So basically, when you have your OINP expression of interest, now question: did you apply for expression of interest, or did you already apply for the Ontario? You apply for the OINP? That's the question. Now, if you have the expression of interest, you can update. You have to update your expression of interest, right? But you always want to provide the information.
We got another one over here. How long do I have after graduation to apply for PNP?
2 years, within the 2-year period.
Okay. What about point for family? I mean, my husband is working as well in construction.
So you get points for your express entry profile under a Canadian experience class for family members. There are no family points. There's no points for family under this PNP. The point system that we had here, right? This is the sole point system that we have. There is no family that we're adding to this PNP.
Okay, this one's pretty easy to clarify in my opinion, but what is the highest education Ontario graduate certificate or my previous bachelor degree?
Your bachelor's degree. So when you're looking highest, it's your bachelor, but make sure your bachelor's degree from your back home is WES assessed. It's EAC assessed. So you need to have it assessed, your credential, to make sure it matches the credential of a Canadian institution.
Okay, I have Carlos that says I have my postgraduate work permit, which is an open work permit. Is it mandatory to close this permit before applying?
Absolutely not. You shouldn't close your work permit. So your postgraduate work permit is precious. So when you get your postgraduate work permit, you're allowed to work. You need to have a valid work permit in order to work and so in Canada. So if you're without a postgraduate work permit, you can't work. So don't close anything. Remember, you can only have a postgraduate work permit once in your lifetime. So you'll never be able to apply for one again, and you'll not be able to extend it. The only time we were able to extend our postgraduate work permits was because of special COVID, the COVID situation. Apart from that, you can never get another postgraduate work permit again. Apply for the expression of interest to the province of Ontario definitely before your postgraduate work permit expires.
Okay, let's see what we have here. Is this stream ideal for those from hospitality industry?
It could be. Again, we're thinking, where are you working, right? So it depends where you're working. If you're working in the hospitality industry, you may get a knock code. You might get a low tier, which will be lower in your points. You may get a low points from your knock code, but depending where you're living and where you studied, where you're working, that might be ideal. Right. So it also, in terms of hospitality, there may be some programs that you might qualify in terms of hospitality. If it's not here in Ontario, there are other provinces that you can move to where hospitality can work. Again, for those, if you're not sure, if you're getting those points, if you want to have clarification, see all the options for what programs you qualify across Ontario, across Canada, you let me know.
Okay, I seen another one here. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so this is a good one. I studied during COVID at Lambton Sarnia. My classes were completely online, but I was physically present in Canada. So do I get points for location of study?
Sorry, one more time.
So the question was, I studied in Lambton College, Sarnia. During COVID, my classes were completely online. However, I was present in the country. Do I get points for location of study?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see what we have.
I have another one here. It is employer is in Mississauga and I'm working from Sarnia, work from home. How much points will I be able to claim for regionalization?
Ooh, I'll have to clarify that. I'll have to clarify that. Email me that question. I'll send you an email back. I got to take a look at that because it depends on each province, right? So it depends on the province. Now, during COVID, there was times when people were living outside of Canada even, but they were studying in college and they still were able to qualify for postgraduate work permits. And again, one of the stipulations that I saw in the OINP is that the majority of the program had to be completed in Ontario. So send me a quick email. It's mache@futuresoftimmigration.ca and give me a day or two and I'll be able to answer that question. I may have to even call the province directly to get that information as I'm not really sure. Good question though.
Okay. All right. My second language is French, but I gave the TEF exam post-graduating, and I can directly apply for PR without any Canadian work experience.
Okay, you need to have Canadian working experience in order to, so just a clarification, it's you don't require Canadian working experience by per se for this program, but you have to have a permanent job offer. You have to be working. So, I mean, in terms of experience, you have to be currently working and has to be a permanent job offer, right? Not a contract position, not a temporary position, not a part-time position, a full-time permanent job offer. So even if you're working there 2 weeks, it's enough for this particular program.
Okay, this is a quick question, quick clarification. What if I don't have WES? Can I claim my highest Ontario graduate certificate?
No. So I'm sorry, where was this Ontario?
So if I don't have WES assessment, can I claim my highest Ontario graduate certificate?
Oh, it's already Ontario graduate certificate. So basically, the WES assessment is to assess qualifications from outside of the Canadian country. So if you got a degree inside of Canada, it counts already. You don't have to WES assess. You don't have to assess your Canadian education, because that's already Canadian education awarded. What the WES assessment does, it assesses foreign education to make sure it is at a Canadian standard. So obviously Canadian education is already at a Canadian standard. It does not need to be assessed.
For the international student stream, there are no points associated to age, right?
No. Only these requirements here: employment, education, regionalization, language, nothing to do with age.
Good. Right, we have lots of questions.
A lot.
Please try to keep your questions in the Q&A. We also have them in the chat, and you have answered during the presentation quite a lot as well. Regarding the wage window, someone's asking, I believe it depends on the sector. So it's better if you go online and search for your specific sector, if I'm not wrong. And then you will see.
Okay, so what you're looking for is you want to see your median wage and make sure there are ways. So there are a couple websites that show you median wage. One of them is Glassdoor. Another one is Statistics Canada and Job Bank. Actually, I really like Job Bank because it's an official government website in which you can find median wage. So if you look at Job Bank, you can search median wage for your particular position. And what's best, you can even search by your knock. So you can use Job Bank to search your knock and then see median wage for that particular position. So you do not have to earn a median wage. You just have to meet or exceed the low wage bracket, the low wage, minimum low wage level of that particular job. So when you see the median wage, you're going to see the high wage, you're going to see the low wage, you're going to see the median wage. What you're looking for is to either meet or exceed the low wage position, wage of that particular job that you have. And it depends on the job.
There are some questions also related to the employers that are not able or willing to provide the documents. Do you have any advice for them?
So this is a big requirement. This is a big issue here. Again, so there is really no risk to the company at all for completing this particular document. There is no fee requirement for that particular company. The company doesn't have to pay anything. They don't have to risk anything. There is no risk involved here, right? This is not CRA. This is the OINP. This is basically looking for this is the province of Ontario, making sure that the employer is able to is a legitimate employer. So most of the time, and again, it would be hard for a company to operate for 3 years without doing any taxes, right? Or reporting any of their earnings to the Canadian government, right? That would be hard. Some companies, if they're doing that, they're obviously not legitimate companies, right? And I think that's like maybe 5% of the reason. The biggest reasons here is HR department is just too lazy and not willing to do it. You go to the HR department and say, we don't do that. And the translation is, it's not my job description. When I was hired for this position as HR manager, I accepted a contract for this position with those many stipulations. These are the job, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. These are my responsibilities. And now you're coming here and asking me to fill out some document for a provincial nominee program. And you're not the only person there. There's so many people that have to fill out, right? So I don't want to do that. It's not my job. So it's not the employer, the owner of the company, the CEO of the company who's against this. The problem is the person who's working at HR is too lazy and doesn't want to do the extra paperwork required because it's not in their job description. Okay. Now, there are ways to get around this. One is to pressure this HR manager more. The other thing is to talk to someone who is in charge of the HR, right? So keep pressuring them. If you keep pressuring the HR management, well, I mean, again, it's something that some employees are worried about because they don't want to get fired. They don't want to piss off the HR manager, right? Because the HR manager is responsible for the hiring process here, right? But again, if you're pressuring, if you're providing enough clarifications why, what you can't do, again, best thing to do is contact me, right? So one thing we do is when we take care of your immigration matters, we represent you. So instead of you calling the HR department, it's, hi, I'm Mache, regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I'm calling because we're requiring this document for a client's application. This is, and again, we have ways to do it. We can contact other people. We can contact the CEOs, the VPs of the company. We can put a little bit of leverage there and put a little bit of pressure to try to get this. So if there are really two reasons, one, the HR manager is just lazy. It's not a company policy. It's simply that they're not willing to do it because it's not in their job description. We can put a little bit of pressure on them from our side as your representative, right? And again, if the CEO of a company decides that it's a good idea to hire international graduates, obviously you need your skills. They want to continue your skills. They don't want to get blacklisted as a place where international students don't want to work. Right? If the company rejects provincial nominee programs over and over again, they're rejecting the ability of international students who choose to work for that company to gain long-term experience that will lead to permanent residency pathways, which many people do. So one of the things we can do is, listen, we're going to get blacklisted here as an employer. Nobody's going to want to come to work for you if you're not going to continue to do this. Again, there are many ways we can apply pressures to these companies through our means, through as your representative. But again, there's, the things you can do is apply light pressure, contact us if you're having trouble. Again, if the company continues to resist in doing this, your ultimate thing to do is quit. And when you're doing the job, you're going through the interview process, make sure you identify that you are looking for this job as a pathway to permanent residency and that you will require this company to fill this document. Okay, do that right away in the interview process. Don't be afraid to switch jobs, and don't be afraid to switch jobs and move up north, where there are a lot of jobs and a low cost of living, higher salaries, right? And where your skills would be more appreciated and needed. Any more questions, guys?
Right, I have one more here. Do I have to keep working with the same employer after I got my OINP?
So what does it mean to get your OINP? If you're doing your...
I'm sorry.
So, no, please, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, sorry.
If you apply for expression of interest, you must be working for the same employer. Okay, so once you apply for your expression of interest to the province of Ontario, you must maintain your status in order to, when you are selected. If you are selected but your status is different, you will no longer qualify for the OINP when you are selected or invited to apply. Once you apply for the OINP, you must continue to maintain your status. Now, if you are working for that employer and then you decide to switch the employer, there's a bit of a grace period. It's not a really standardized grace period, but you want to switch your jobs as soon as possible. Okay, so let's say if you're switched to another employer, you have to update the province. You have to update your application. But that being said, apart from updating your application, there's not you can work for another employee. If it's in a different NOC, you have to update the NOC that you have. If it's the same NOC but a different employer, still you have to update that information to the province. Always update your progress. Okay, technically if it's just like 1 month between jobs, it's okay. Just make sure you get that job as soon as possible.
Right, one more here. What if the job I get is different from what I study, but is at least tier 3? Still applying for the OINP international student stream?
Again, yes, it's okay. You can have a bit of a different career, right? You can have a different career, even though you had one kind of education with the STEMs, but you're working in another company. Again, we're looking for those job requirements. So generally speaking, it helps your education. It helps to see the legitimacy of your job offer if your education aligns with the actual job offer, right? So that would be really great. And for some of these jobs, it is required for you to have a certain education aligned to the job. But no, technically speaking, your education does not have to align to the job that you have, right? You might have applied, or you might have done a master's of business administration, but then you got a really great job in sales for Nike, right? That's fine, right? That's fine, right? It's a big company. They need you. They like your sales experience. It depends on, so it doesn't have to 100% align, but we are looking for tiers, knocks. We're just calculating the points.
All right, good. We do have lots of questions. Fortunately, we're not able to answer everything, but you can join us again this evening at 5:30 if you want to get deeper into your questions. Just to sum up, and let's make sure everyone understands everything. So for the category will be a skilled trade in a tier 0, 1, or 3. That's a must. The language requirements is not really mandatory. You can have CLV 6, but you will get 0 points. So it's better if you go and study and you get CLV 7, 8, or 9. For the salary, it needs to meet the low wage. So we're not focusing on high wages here for the international student stream. And employer, we need for sure our employer for applying for this stream, 3 years business if it's in Ontario, operated for at least 3 years. And yeah, that is kind of the summary I've got here. I don't know if I'm missing something. Oh, you must apply within the 2 years of graduation, and that is kind of the summary I got here. There are some specific questions for those questions. We're trying to answer everything like the general questions, but you can also reach Mate and Giuliano. You got the information already. It's also in the chat. I will post it again right now. And I don't know if you will have something else you believe we should answer that we haven't covered.
Right. Yeah, basically, yeah, we're looking for a Canadian designate. You have to apply. You have to basically graduate from a public college or university within 2 years in Canada, right? It has to be you must have a job offer, permanent job offer, not a temporary part-time, but for full-time. Full-time is considered 30 hours a week or more. Permanent full-time position, tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. Right? You must meet, or it has to be in Ontario, obviously. You have to be working in Ontario, right? It has to be above the low wage. The employer has to be active for at least 3 years. If it's inside of the GTA, minimum requirement is 1 million in gross total gross annual revenue with at least 5 full-time employees. If it's outside of the GTA, it's $500,000 in total gross annual revenue with 3 full-time employees. As I mentioned before, look for a big company that exceeds these statistics because things can always fluctuate and change. And at the moment of application to the province of Ontario, if some of these employers get fired, they quit, or they get injured, or the company becomes less successful and lowers this requirement, you might not qualify at the moment of application. Right? So these are the basic requirements. Furthermore, to those basic requirements, we're looking for points under employment, right? So depending on your knock, if your knock is 0, you're getting, or 1, you're getting 10 points. If it's 2, it's getting so it depends on the points here. Again, if you're interested in knowing if you qualify or qualify for any other program, right, do reach out. We're happy to help out. Book your consultation. And we are going to also provide another session. We're going to review this session again at 5:30 p.m. this evening. If you want to register again, And but if you want specific questions to your position, and we know that there are many nuances here, do book your consultation with us. We have a special Lambton College price of only $100 for your consultation.
Great. Okay, I believe we should conclude our webinar for now. But again, you're welcome to join us this evening at 5:30. We'll try to answer as much questions as we can. Always try to keep your questions in the Q&A, please. And remember to answer the survey so we can keep improving for you. Once again, Matt and Giuliano, thank you very much for your support and all the clear explanation we got from you as always. It's been a pleasure to work with you. To our graduates, thank you so much. And I will see you hopefully at 5:30 p.m. Take care,
All right.
everyone. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Ciao.